Hi, man.
What are you doing?
I'm drinking wine and eating cheese and catching some rays, you know.
One of the real pleasures of traditional shaving is the feel of warm lather on your skin. But sometimes keeping that lather warm can be a little difficult, particularly if you do a multi-pass shave. Let's look at a few ways to keep that lather nice and warm.
Perhaps the simplest way to keep lather warm is to gently heat a mug or bowl of some kind, then partially submerge it in a sink of hot water. Here's an example of what I do when I want to whip up a batch of lather from shave cream. I run hot water around and through the bowl to start warming it, then fill it with hot water, soaking my brush to heat it as well. I drain the bowl, create my lather, then I just sit the bowl in the sink of hot water. There's still plenty of room to rinse my face and razor. If I use a shaving soap instead of cream, or if I decide to build lather straight to my face instead of a bowl, I just use a coffee mug in a similar fashion, keeping my brush warm in the mug between latherings. But what if the shape of your sink doesn't lend itself to this? Well, you still have some options. You'll just need to use a little counter space. This is a traditional shaving soap scuttle. This type of oddly shaped ceramic mug has been around many years and was very popular in the days before running hot water. Water was heated on a stove top, then poured into the mug at the spout. The heat of the water warmed the shaving soap. Often the brush was dipped into the spout to both wet and heat it as well. The brush was then laid on top of the soap between latherings to keep it warm. So if you've ever wondered why many traditional shaving soaps have a rounded bottom, here's your answer. A few old line producers such as Trumpers still sell scuttles, though these days it's more of a novelty than a luxury item. Here's something relatively new on the scene, a shaving cream scuttle, sometimes called a Moss scuttle after Dr. Chris Moss, the Canadian physician who dreamt up the idea. It's essentially a bowl within a larger mug. Using a Moss scuttle is a little like how I keep a mug warm in the sink. You warm both the outer mug and the inner bowl by filling them with hot water, drain, then refill just the outer mug with hot water. The outer reservoir keeps the inner bowl warm and allows you to keep a brush warm there between latherings. Some people use a Moss scuttle to make their lather in too, though the inner bowl may be a bit small to do this with a large shaving brush. This scuttle is produced by Sarah Bonneman Pottery. Now, I happen to live in a part of the United States that has a lot of clay soil, so there are a lot of pottery businesses nearby. Here are a couple of do-it-yourself ideas that might give you some inspiration to come up with something of your own. Here's a medium-sized mixing bowl from a local potter. I found a metal bowl that fits into the top of it, so if I fill the mixing bowl with hot water, I can use the top bowl to make my lather. Here's a two-piece party dip set. The idea is to fill the outer pot with ice and fill the inner pot with chip dip. I fill the outer pot with hot water instead and hold my large shaving brush in the inner pot. I'm sure with a little shopping around you can come up with a similar setup. For the ultimate in hot lather, some shaving aficionados have taken an idea from professional barbers and bought hot lather machines. Machines such as Lather King and Latherizer can provide large quantities of hot lather on demand. They normally use their own kind of shaving cream, though some have adapted them to use traditional British-style shaving cream. You might be tempted to use an electric hot water pot or even a teapot or coffee maker. If you do, use caution. If the water is too hot, it can damage the hairs on a shaving brush, not to mention the possibility of scalding your skin. So be very careful if you try this. But meanwhile, enjoy that shave with the added comfort and pleasure of warm lather.
Definitely an antisocial type. That's my other dog imitation.